The Abrams is dead still in a riverbed, tracks spinning, mud climbing the armor like it's alive. On the hill, 1,000 knights don't charge. They just wait. Because they've learned the truth. You don't have to kill a tank. You just have to trap it and let time do the stabbing. Rewind 3 days. Same kingdom, same hills. Year 1200. Farmers are out in the fields when the sky cracks like a drum. Heat shimmers, dust erupts, and a metal beast appears where nothing stood a heartbeat ago. Low, wide, and wrong for this world. It moves immediately, flattening grass like paper. Villagers freeze. A priest whispers a prayer. A knight grips his sword like steel can solve physics. By nightfall, the king hears the report. An iron monster that breathes smoke and breaks stone. He doesn't laugh. He calls the banners. Because in the Middle Ages, when something terrifying shows up, you answer with the only tool you trust. Men. Thousands of them. But the Abrams crew doesn't care about glory. They care about distance. Their goal isn't to duel every night in the kingdom. It is to reach the capital and force surrender fast. Before the medieval world learns how to fight the one thing it can actually kill. In modern war, a tank is never truly alone. Fuel trucks follow. Ammo follows. Mechanics follow. Spare parts follow. Here, nothing follows. So the real question isn't, can it kill a medieval army? Of course it can. The real question is, can it keep moving long enough to win? First contact happens outside a market town. A few hundred soldiers form a line across an open field. Spears forward, shields up. They're brave. They're disciplined. They're also about to meet a technology jump so big it feels like magic. The Abrams stops. The turret turns with slow confidence, like a predator choosing dinner. And the main gun fires. One quick translation. That gun launches a projectile so fast it hits like a speeding truck made of steel. The round slams into a stone wall behind the line. Stone detonates outward. Men don't retreat. They unravel. Horses scream and bolt. Archers drop bows and run because their brains have no file folder for that sound. Then the machine gun starts. Short bursts. Controlled. Precise. It's not infinite. It's not supernatural. It's just brutally efficient compared to anything the Middle Ages can answer with. On open ground, the Abrams is untouchable. Swords can't cut it. Arrows bounce off. Even the strongest crossbow is just loud optimism. And this is the moment most people stop thinking. Tank wins. Roll credits. But wars aren't won by being the scariest thing in a field. Wars are won by moving through the world. The Abrams pushes toward the capital, choosing wide paths and open country, avoiding thick forests that could hide traps and restrict movement. It shadows rivers like natural highways. And then it reaches the first bridge. Medieval bridges were built for carts, horses, and foot traffic, not for a roughly 70-ton machine. There's no load rating, no blueprint, no engineer team, just a decision with consequences. If the bridge collapses, the Abrams doesn't explode. It gets stuck. And stuck is how a superweapon turns into a story people laugh about later. So the crew looks for a ford, a shallow crossing. They find one and roll in. For a second, it feels fine. Then the bottom turns soft. The tracks bite and the mud bites back. The tank lurches, as if the earth itself grabbed it by the ankles. The engine whines, tracks spin, mud sprays like dark rain, and after a long, ugly moment, the Abrams claws out, barely. The crew exhales, but on a distant ridge, scouts are watching. They don't cheer, they don't panic, they learn, because they just discovered something the tank can't shoot. Not a weapon, not a hero, wet dirt. That night, the kingdom stops acting like it's fighting a monster. It starts acting like it's fighting a root. The commanders don't tell their men to charge. They tell their men to build problems. Trees fall across narrow roads. Trenches appear where there were none yesterday, disguised with brush. Small bridges get sabotaged in the dark. Herds of animals get pushed into choke points to clog movement. It's not glamorous. It's not cinematic. It's how smart people fight something stronger than them. And every time the Abrams clears an obstacle with firepower, it pays a price it can't replace. A shell for a tree, a burst for a cart, a detour around a ditch. The tank is winning every fight and losing tiny pieces of the future. Then the weather turns. Rain. Not a Hollywood storm. Not thunder and lightning. Just steady medieval rain that soaks the world for days. Dirt roads become grease. Fields become traps. Riverbanks turn into soft, hungry ground. The Abrams is still the most powerful thing on the battlefield, but now the battlefield decides where the Abrams is allowed to be. The crew tries to stay on high ground. They try to avoid choke points. They try to keep momentum. But the medieval world is simpler than modern war in one terrifying way. It doesn't need to destroy you. It just needs to slow you down. And this is where the story flips, because now we hit the real enemy. Logistics, fuel, ammo, maintenance. Fuel first. The Abrams uses a turbine engine. Think jet engine inside a tank. One sentence explanation. It's powerful, but it burns fuel fast, especially when it's fighting mud, detours, and constant stop-and-go movement. In modern war, fuel trucks follow it like a shadow. Here, there are no fuel trucks. There isn't even fuel to steal. So every minute becomes a timer. Idling burns the clock. Detours burn the clock. Trying to rescue yourself out of mud burns the clock faster than anything. Ammo is next. Those main gun rounds don't last forever. When they're gone, the tank loses its castle-cracking punch. It's still armored, still terrifying, but it can't keep turning stone into dust. And then there's maintenance, the silent killer. Tracks wear down, filters clog, parts loosen, metal stresses under constant shock. In a modern army, mechanics and spare parts are an entire ecosystem. Here, one small failure can end the campaign, not in a blaze of glory. In a quiet stop on the side of a medieval road. After days of wet ground and brutal terrain, something small fails. A track issue, not because a knight hit it, because the world did. The Abrams slows near a village. The crew climbs out to work. They're trained, they're fast. But they're exposed. And in the Middle Ages, eyes are everywhere. Scouts report it immediately. The kingdom doesn't rush in like movie villains. They surround from a distance. They stay out of direct range. They build camps. They light torches. They wait. Because they've finally learned the winning move. You don't have to kill the tank. You have to contain it. They cut off nearby water sources. They burn food stores. They deny supplies. They rotate men in shifts like a living wall. No heroic charge. No glorious duel. Just patience. And the scariest moment in this entire scenario isn't when the tank fires. It's when the tank can't move. Because now the medieval world doesn't have to win a battle. It only has to win a week. And that's how we return to the opening image. The Abrams dead, still in a riverbed, tracks spinning, mud swallowing the hull and knights on the ridge, not charging, just waiting. So who wins? If the Abrams gets lucky, dry routes, solid crossings, a straight shot to the capital, it can absolutely force surrender quickly. A medieval king might give up simply to stop the nightmare before it reaches the gates. But if the kingdom survives the first shock and buys time, the odds flip hard. Medieval societies are built for endurance without modern supply chains. They can raise fresh levies, move food by cart, live off the land, adapt to the terrain, wait you out. The Abrams can't. It's a modern weapon designed to fight as part of a system. Alone, it's a superweapon with an expiration date. The most realistic ending isn't a heroic explosion. It's anticlimactic. Fuel runs low. A small part fails. Mud wins one more time. The tank becomes a monument in a field, a metal myth nobody can open, only fear. So, would an Abrams tank win a medieval war? In a straight fight, yes. It's a rolling apocalypse. But wars aren't won by the loudest moment. They're won by the boring, brutal math of movement, roads, bridges, weather, repairs, fuel. And in the Middle Ages, logistics is the final boss. Now I want your answer in the comments. If you're the medieval king, what's the smartest move? Trap it in mud, burn the roads, or gamble everything trying to capture it intact?